What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we do upload PvP content every single day, so please consider subscribing to the channel if you're into that type of content. Today we're going to be running some teams from my comments section. Last video I asked my viewers to leave some teams in the comments section that they would like me to try out. Got some pretty interesting ones. First team here was recommended by James Ferry, and he wants Hippowdon, Arcanine, and Jumpluff. Now this team did require me to spend a lot of dust because I didn't have any of these powered up for the Great League or second moved. So leading with the Hippowdon, running Ice Fang, and we see Swampert here. This is definitely the last thing you want to see with this team. I wasn't sure which one he wanted me to lead with. Fortunately, we are running Ice Fang on the Hippowdon in this particular lineup. I went for Ice Fang because Arcanine already has Fire Fang and it provides some more coverage for, say, an Altaria lead. But we bring in the Jumpluff here to catch the Hydro Cannon. That's pretty much what we have to do here. We can't switch into Arcanine. We can't leave Hippowdon in there. Pretty much our only hope is to bring in Jumpluff. Hope they don't have a hard counter. But in this case, they clearly do. They have a Charizard. And this team doesn't really have a counter for Charizard either. So this team is definitely spicy, but has a lot of problems, as you could see. And yeah, we're going to actually bring in the Arcanine here, and as you see, it's actually a Shadow Arcanine. So I've never used it before, it's the first time using it, and I was pretty excited to power this thing up actually. The IVs aren't great for Great League, of course, but they're decent for Ultra League actually, so I might just evolve or power it up further for Ultra League after. I have a really good one actually for Great League, but I needed TM the second move. I wanted to test out in Great League anyways, it's not even that good. But as you can see here, we get the Wild Charge off. And I expect Swampert to come back in. It instantly KOs the Arcanine with one Mud Shot, which goes to show how glassy Arcanine is. And this Hydro Cannon is going to absolutely demolish the Hippowdon. So had we led with Jumpluff there, it may have been a bit different. Next match against Empotacao. And we're going to run the same team. We're going to do two battles with each team here. We run into another Water League. I think if you are going to run this team, I don't really recommend it, but if you are going to run it, definitely Jumpluff and then switch into either Arcanine or Hippowdon based on the lead matchup. And that way, even if they take out one fighter, you still have another Pokemon on the back that could somewhat cover the steel types and stuff. The problem with Hippowdon is he's quite glassy. It's like he looks like he's very bulky, but I found out that he's actually quite glassy and he can't really take hits. So this team in general is quite weak to a lot of the meta, and unless you line it up perfectly, you're gonna have a really hard time. So here, as you see, they bring in the Skarmory, so I was like, okay, this is pretty good. We're gonna bring an Arcanine here. And I have to shield, of course, because these Sky Attacks are gonna do so much damage to Arcanine because it's so glassy. And at this point, my thought process was that I was going to commit to a farm down and get to as close as possible to 2 Wild Charges, and then try to go back to back on the Azumarill. But as you could see here, the main problem is that I actually take so much damage from those air slashes from the Skarmory that it made sense to just throw the Wild Charge at the Skarmory before, perhaps get the last shield maybe, or let it go down, and then have more health left for the Azumarill, because the Azumarill just took me on instantly. I couldn't even get to a second Wild Charge. Gonna bring back in the Jumpluff here. We have to overfarm a little bit and go for the Leaf Blade here. This is going to KO the Azumarill, and they have a Bastard on the back, so pretty much game over. Wasn't really anything to do. Maybe Hippowdon, if lands a couple Earth Powers, could have done something, but yeah, this team has too many weaknesses. So overall, fun team, cool team, spicy team, but so I recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it if you're trying to win. But thank you for the team, James. Next matchup here is Jersey Tooth. It's from Jersey Tooth, and he's asked me to test out Tropius, Alolan Raichu, and Registeel. So this is a similar team to what I've been running, except with Hypno instead of Raichu. So we're going to lead with the Tropius here, running the Razor Leaf, and face up against an Alolan Marowak. And this is actually a matchup where I don't mind staying in. And you're going to see that Tropius could actually do really well in this matchup, so long as you could call the Bone Club bait, because Bone Club will do nothing. And the Razor Leafs are pretty much matching with the Fire Spin damage, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. But we switch into Registeel now to counter the Wigglytuff, and this is a very dominant position. What happened is that the Razor Leaf Tropius matchup versus the Marowak, I can't really switch into Raichu, and I can't really switch into the Registeel either, so I had to just sort of play that out with Tropius. Marowak comes back in, I'm going to throw the Bone Club. I'm going to be doing some decent damage to Registeel, but nothing too crazy to be honest. Bone Club is a very weak move, even when super effective. Flash Cannon is going to come through. He's actually going to burn his shield, so we're up 2 shields now. And this is looking very promising for us. I'm okay letting the Registeel go down here. I know I can bring back in the Tropius, and with the 2 shield advantage, we actually will be able to very confidently defeat this Marowak. Actually bring in the Raichu here, but I am going to have to commit a shield, of course. Both Bone Club and Shadow Claw are actually going to hurt in this situation. Could have went Raichu or Tropius, but now looking back on this, bringing in Raichu could make sense for building energy, but I do end up wasting energy here anyways. And I'm actually running Thunder Punch on this Raichu. Thunder Punch and Grass Knot, and Skarmory comes in, and this matchup is pretty much over. Good thing that we had the Raichu there, because Tropius would have a hard time against that Skarmory, but we did have 2 shields. Probably still would lose, I don't know, I'd have to run the sim. But we end up winning that matchup, headed into the second match with this team against Go Me Pro. And we are going to be leading same team, Tropius, into the Whiscash. So compared to the last 2 matches where we had horrible leads, in this matchup we have an amazing lead. They switch into Skarmory. So you could actually switch into Registeel or Raichu here actually. Both of them are going to do really well. I actually switch into the Raichu here, which is questionable because you would possibly not want to line up the Registeel versus the Whiscash in the back, so you could bring the Whiscash. But at the same time, I know if I bring the Raichu, as long as I win switch advantage, I could still prevent my Registeel from matching up with the Whiscash in the back, and I feel like Registeel has a lot of play, especially in these early rank battles. So I decided to maintain that for possibly like an Altaria in the back that he might have. Actually, it turns out to be a Snorlax. So, bringing the Registeel now. Or, well, we go for Tropius. I guess I need to burn shields first. So, that's why I'm bringing in the Tropius. So, if I bring in Snorlax, actually, it could be running Earthquake. And I would have to use 2 Flash Cannons to burn both shields. So, no, yes. Bringing Registeel makes no sense here. Have to bring in Tropius. And we're just going to Razor Leaf. Try to burn these shields. And the Snorlax probably really wants to get rid of this Tropius, so it's probably going to shield everything that it throws at me. And I'm going to go for the Leaf Blade here. And as you can see, my Tropius is actually very, very low in health. And you could be wondering, like, how am I going to beat that Whiscash in the back? Well, I'm going to switch out here. That's enough health on the Tropius to beat the Whiscash. And we're going to come in with the Registeel. Now I'm going to shield because I know that they have no health left. Even if they switch, I'll land the Focus Blast. But it would make sense for them to switch here, actually. To be honest, that would be the correct play. But I had 2 shields, so it would be fine. But we go 2-0 with that team, so thank you, Jersey 2, for that matchup. Rusty Shackleford 420 wants me to run Munchlax, Shiftry, and Alolan Marowak. So this is a pretty cool team. I like all these Pokemon. I'm going to leave with the Munchlax here into a Gloom. And we are running Body Slam and Bulldoze. Now Munchlax is a Pokemon obviously I played a lot with using Arrow's team last season. So kind of understand most matchups with it. Here, as you can see, the Razor Leaf's doing a lot of damage. Don't really want to switch in the Shiftry or the Marowak here. I feel that Munchlax could do enough damage to this Gloom to pressure shields, and if it goes down, I'm totally fine after bringing in the Alolan Marowak and farming down. So I am going to let the Munchlax go down here, bring in the Alolan Marowak, go for a farm down with the Fire Spins, and let's see what they're doing. It looks like it's an Azumarill. We're going to go for the Shadow Ball here. Just instant damage. It's going to do about 40% of the Azumarill's health. They actually choose to shield. Going to look to switch into the Shiftry here, but there's a little bit of lag, it looked like. So I am going to have to shield this up with the Marowak. Well, the Ice Beam's out of the way now, so that's good. Don't have to worry about that. We are going to outpace this Azumarill to the Charge Room. Was expecting a shield, a switch out, but no switch came, so I'm going to go for the Leaf Blade here. And now they switch into Deoxys. Okay, so they had the time to switch perfectly. even Leaf Blade's going to hurt the Deoxystal, that's the thing, so they didn't really have too much of an option here to switch out into. And Shiftry just charge moves so quickly. It's going to get Bullet Seed on Community Day. Honestly, Bullet Seed, Snarl, I think they're like clone moves, the same amount of energy, same time duration. Bullet Seed might work better against Pokemon like Azumarill, water types, and whatnot, but personally I think I'm just going to stick with Snarl for some more neutral damage in more particular matchups. But we're going to win very confidently in this first matchup with the team recommended by Rusty. And we're going to go into a second matchup here against Johnny Snow. So same team with the Munchlax, Shiftry, and the Alolan Marowak, and we see an Azumarill lead. So here we are going to just lick down. This is a pretty close matchup, and we're just going to go straight Body Slam here, of course. And let's see what this Azumarill is running. This looks like it's probably going to be... This could be a Play Rough, actually. It is a Play Rough. We are going to just continue looking down. So Play Rough is a bit more... Well, it does more damage, but Ice Beam gets off quicker, so it goes both ways. So we're going to keep going here, looking down. Actually brings in a Medicham. So Medicham is going to have very favorable matchups against both the Shiftry and the Munchlax. But the Alolan Marowak will be able to come in here. And honestly, nothing this Medicham throws at the Marowak should do any damage. So Dynamic Punch is going to be resisted. Honestly, at this point, I think we could just farm down because it can't really do anything to the Marowak. Ice Punch resisted. So yeah, I should commit to a farm down here. I think that's the correct play. Have enough for 2 Shadow Balls ready. Another Charge is going to come through. We know it's Ice Punch and Dynamic Punch. Neither of them are going to do anything. So let it come through. Have both shields. Have enough for almost 2 Shadow Balls on this Marowak. And their own Marowak comes in. Okay, so we just go straight for the Shadow Ball here. And we're definitely going to get to a second one. And shields are down now, so this is going to be doing a lot of heavy damage to the Marowak. And we could pretty much bring in either one here, to be honest, to win this game. Bring in the Munchlax. And the Azumarill is going to come back out. So Shiftry will come in. We have 2 shields. Just have to land 1 Leaf Blade, and this matchup is going to be over. So this is actually a pretty good team. It's a little bit weak to fighting types, of course. But I saw their Medicham. If you could get the Marowak in there to counter it, it would be okay. But in most cases, let's say you lose the lead and then you face a fighting type in the back after, it could be a little bit more problematic. So it's a good team. It is worth checking out, but just be wary of the fighting type weakness. Next team was recommended by Joseph Yakub. He's asking me to try Lanturn, Registeel, and Hypno with Ice Punch for some ground type coverage, since the rest of the team is weak to ground. Okay, so Muzaraño is here first. Thank you for the request, Joseph. And we're facing Jolteon lead. This is definitely not something you see very often, if at all. And I've never played out this match, but obviously this is going to be a discharge here. So we're going to let that come through. And it's actually doing a pretty healthy amount to Lanturn. And we're going to go for the Thunderbolts here. Now I would have went for Hydro Pump, but I was expecting a shield to come out, so just go for the lower cost energy move. Switch into Hypno to catch this discharge here. And it's going to do about the same that it did to Lanturn, more or less. I'm going to shield this discharge that comes out. And I'm going to go for this Ice Punch, but the Jolteon actually gets to another discharge first. We are going to survive this, of course. This Jolteon is proving to be a problem, actually, for this team. It would have a pretty good matchup with the Registeel as well. So, pretty interesting. Looking to commit to a farm down here, which we are able to do, fortunately. And I don't think I'm going to be able to reach the Focus Blast here, so I just go for the Ice Punch instantly. It's actually a Machamp, so a little unfortunate because the confusion would hurt. As you see, I go for the confusion, but the animation's so long it doesn't even register, so I get no damage off of that. Have to bring in the Lanturn here, of course, but thankfully shields are down, so I likely won't have to match up this Registeel with the Machamp. We don't. Arcanine comes in here, and I probably won't have to bring in the Registeel here. This team actually really wanted to see a Registeel, and fortunately for us, we're going to be able to avoid showing them the Registeel at all costs. So we get rid of the Arcanine, and what turned into a pretty weird situation, actually it turned into a dominant win. One with the shield. Come Do Something is up next, and we are going to be leading into a Medicham. Okay, so a couple of Medichams here in these early rank battles, and we are running Lanturn here with Spark. Let's see what this first move is going to be. It's a Power Punch, okay, so I'm not going to shield that. And we're going to go for the Thunderbolt here. And there is something to consider here, and that is that this Medicham is likely going to get a second Power Punch off. And with that boosted attack, this trainer is possibly going to be very unlikely to switch out of this matchup because they don't want to debuff themselves. And, you know, that's something that's probably more likely to happen at the lower level. So I could safely switch in here, knowing that they're unlikely to switch. So these counters are being resisted, so they're not doing as much damage as they normally would. And I'll just go for the Ice Punch here. Let's see if we get the second shield. We do not, so they choose not to shield that, that's fine. Oh, actually they already got rid of their second shield. I didn't realize. So they actually have no shields left. And I shield the Power Punch there just because I want to make sure that I get rid of this Medicham with some health left. They actually bring in Fortress, and I couldn't get off the Ice Punch. I think it's running like Bug Bite or something, so very well played there. But I do have the Registeel in the back with the Focus Blast, and they actually make a really good switch here, which wasn't expecting, but that was like a rank 10 type play there. Switch into these rumors who catch the Focus Blast, knowing their typings. So I bring the Lanturn here, of course, has Thunderbolts, so. And I actually prefer that the Azumarill gets rid of the Lanturn here because I'll be able to farm down with the Registeel. I shouldn't have thrown that extra Spark, I should just let the Registeel come in and farm down. Because this Fortress does have access to Earthquake here. I have to make sure that this is not a bait. It is an Earthquake. And now we need to get off the Focus Blast. Although I'm not sure if this is going to KO the Fortress here. It's going to do a lot of damage, but let's see. No, it doesn't KO. Actually, it takes that quite well. And this Fortress is definitely going to get to a second Earthquake. And let's see if this KOs. Meganium Earthquake wouldn't KO here. It looks like Fortress is more or less the same. And we just go for the Focus Blast because we know it used up all its energy. Flash Cannon would have probably done the job there too. But Focus Blast is a guarantee, so we end up winning that matchup there. And another 2-0 set. And last matchup here is requested by Valor11. And he wants me to run Hypno, Azu, and Hippowdon with Fire Fang this time, Earth Power Body Slam. Nicole D'Souza 2 is the first matchup here. Seeing a Raichu. So I'm running Hypno with Confusion, Thunder Punch, and Focus Blast. And I'm basically going Thunder Punch instead of Ice Punch because the Marill has coverage for the Altair with Ice Beam already. And the Hippowdon has pretty decent coverage for the Steel types. So I figure Thunder Punch is pretty good for opposing Azumarills, for example. And Focus Blast just for that nuking power against like a Bastiodon or a Registeel. So we bring in the Hypno here, going for the Thunder Punches. This Raichu actually chooses to burn both shields, and we end up fainting it down, so we win the lead with the shield in hand. They actually bring in Toxicroak. So I'm gonna get off this Thunder Punch here and bring in these rooms. As you can see, the confusion doesn't go through again. A little unfortunate because the animation's so slow. That's fine. I'm gonna bring in the Azumarill. Shields are down here, and they're going to throw likely a Sludge Bomb, so we will shield this up, and we will beat them to the Ice Beam. I guess you have to go for the Sludge Bomb there, because if you go for Mud Bomb, you're not going to reach a Sludge Bomb before it gets Ice Beam anyways. So you have to just hope that it goes unshielded if you're on the Toxicroak side. They bring in Skarmory here, And this matchup is pretty much done. I'm actually going to bring in the Hippowdon just to see how it performs here with the Fire Fang. And the Sky Attack's going to come through. And you can see that Sky Attack does quite a bit of damage. It takes almost 50% health. So the Air Slashes surprisingly look like they're doing more damage than the Fire Fangs, which is crazy. But we end up winning that matchup there. And this is the last match of the video, Blastoise 204. And we are going to be leading Hypno into Haunter. So this is an interesting matchup because Haunter is doing super effective, Hypno is doing super effective. But as you can see, the confusions greatly outweigh the Shadow Claw damage. And this is likely going to be a Shadow Punch, which we would survive. But I just want to preserve some health on my Hypno. You could definitely let that go and still survive with the Hypno, save the shield. Go for the Focus Blast here. Let's see if this goes shielded. It does. I feel like, especially in this ring, a lot of people are shielding like the first and second charge moves you throw. So it might make sense to just bait there with the Thunder Punch, but then it would require me to burn a second shield to get to the Focus Blast a second time. Didn't find it necessary. Gonna bring in the Hippowdon here. Hippowdon versus the Registeel, and I actually let that go through, expecting it to be a Flash Cannon. So a little risky there on our part, and I actually let the Hippowdon go down. So a little bit questionable play there. And the Registeel is going to come here with another Flash Cannon. This Registeel is putting in some work. And at this point, I'm going to go for the Ice Beam here. Let's see if the opponent uses a shield. I highly doubt it. And last Pokemon is going to be an Ivysaur. Okay. So had I brought in the Azumarill versus the Registeel, I'd save the Hippowdon for the Ivysaur. Maybe we could have won this game. It would still be very close, to be honest. I'm going to shield this up. And we should get to another Ice Beam here, but I do not think this will be enough to KO the Ivysaur. No, it's not. And this Ivysaur is going to, of course, get to one more Power Whip, and it's going to win this game. So overall, actually, it's a pretty good team. Has good coverage, and it's definitely a team that you could try out. But Hippowdon, there are better options, I find. Even like a Marowak or a Charizard would perform better in that situation. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, commenting, subscribing to the channel. Let me know in the comments what teams you want me to use, and I'll look to make more future videos like this. Thank you for watching. Take care.